Hello everybody and welcome back to Loma Montana. Welcome back to the channel. We are Big Sky Farms and we are here on Loma doing a little bit of gameplay over the next couple weeks. I decided to set up camp up here at what I call the Walker Farm because it looks a lot like Walker Farm, and quite frankly I like this farm a lot better than any other Walker farm maps. Some things I've done to change this around just a wee little bit is I put in a buy point tower here for seed, fertilizer, and lime. And then I also put in a fertilizer tank for herbicide and liquid fertilizer. So those two tanks are not a part of the map at this point. I think it would be cool if the map author would add bulk buy points at these farms. But that would likely not be realistic. And of course this map is all about realism. So probably going to be something you'll have to put down yourself. Avery, what is up? Where's the fert? It's in that the tower. It's in the tank. Once I get this guy working, I'll show you around. Show you what we've got going on as far as fields go here. And crops. What we put in where. What my thought processes were. Which were mostly not a lot of thought. I was going to do the feedlot, but the two fields down by the field lot were maybe a little bit bigger than I wanted to tackle in single player, so I think that'll be something perfectly fine for someone to tackle in multiplayer. What? Oh. Alright, off you go. This map does have multi-terrain angle, so you do want to make sure that you're fairly well lined up when this map does release to the course that you want your hired helper to go out on. Otherwise, they're just going to go off at a crooked angle. Alright, so what we got going on here is field 5, which is this field here. We are putting wheat in. And it shows limed, but it's not limed, so we're putting lime down. So that's what we're doing here. Field 6, which wraps around. Field 6, I planted corn. It'll be ready to harvest soon, based on the harvest calendar. Simper, that's great. That is just in 2 days. 2 days. Field 4, I planted soybeans. That'll be ready here in about a month, according to the crop calendar. Field 3 already had wheat in it and ready to harvest, so we are harvesting our wheat. This map does have stubble destruction, as you can see here. And then I went ahead and bought these 2 fields down this road. And in one field, I put flax, which is one of the new crops available on this map. And in the other field, I planted alfalfa, which is another new crop, because I knew you guys would want to know, does alfalfa regrow on this map? But we're going to find out. So field 2 has our flax. It's ready to harvest. And field 1 has our alfalfa. Roy, I think it would be a great idea. Oh, look at that beautiful alfalfa. Of course, you should never let it get this flowery before cutting it, but hey, it looks pretty. And field 1 is split by this road. So here's the other half of field 1. That's what we did. I think it would be a great idea because there are 3 farms and the feedlot. So you could easily have 4 distinct working groups. And then obviously come together for your big harvests, because some of these fields are pretty substantial in size. And you can have 1,000, what did we count? 1,000 cattle. 1,000 head of cattle are capable on this map without putting down any additional animal pastures. 1,000. 600 alone over at the feedlot. Oh, thank you, Midwest Farmer. When I pitched it to No Creek Farms, he's like, yeah, I'd love to do that. No one's asked me to do that before. I was like, what? How has no one asked you to come on and talk about your map? In fact, Roy, I've got a server here at the house. I was going to run this map off of that server tonight, just for poops and smiles. But I ran into a minor issue not related to the map. So we are straight up single player at the moment. But there should be 0 issues with running this map on a multiplayer server. It's 1.4 gigs now. It should upload via the web uploader without any issue. I think we've established when we were doing some testing in 19 that 1.7 gigs is kind of about the limit for the web uploader. So this map is well under that at this point, and there's still some optimization to be done. No, right now it's 1.7 Gs. Now I was gonna put an auger over here and use these bins. I was gonna use these bins right here. But when I was looking at them, it didn't look like they had a trigger in the top. And maybe they do, but it didn't look like they had one in the top. So I just was like, I'm not gonna mess with that. I'll try that out later. We're gonna do it over at the main farm. Richard, everything you're seeing on this map is on the mod hub. So everything I'm playing with right now is on the mod hub. Yeah, we had a nice little chat after the live stream too, Midwest Farmer. I did send him a screenshot. I don't know if anyone's tested the fields up here and run into the same issue I had, but the helper on that field, when I was harvesting, it skipped 2 rows for some reason. So I sent him a screenshot. Maybe you can look and see if there's something weird that would cause the helper to want to skip lanes there. Oh, you went and moved on me. I had you perfectly lined up, and you went and moved on me. Oh, I think I hit it. I hit it with the... That's it. I hit it with that cedar. That's why it moved on me. No, I haven't seen anything about a railroad mod. I'll be honest, I haven't really done a lot today. I had to go in and work this morning and got home around 1. And then I've been trying to do a couple other things. And then obviously get this set up. I heard about it, but I don't have a clue where it's at. This is basically one of the busiest times at work, so it's all been a blur for the last month. And it all came down to the last 4 days. I had to empty an entire academic building of technology in 2.5 days. Because starting Monday, the hammers are swinging and the walls are coming down for what they call a summer slammer renovation. In about 8 weeks, 2 floors are going to be gutted and completely rebuilt. What's up, Alex? How are you doing? Let's go ahead and take this guy back, and while we're doing that, this video is brought to you by Jonathan V and Bobby W. Thank you for being farm barons. Really nice detail, and you can see it here in this angle. The map author has put in basically tire marks on these gravel roads to kind of simulate the path that the vehicles have gone down, and around them we have raised gravel, 3D gravel, but between those, in those tire paths, we have basically no gravel. Basically where all the gravel would have been, you know, kicked off to the side. So really cool detail. So it lets you place railroad tracks, and then how do you put a train on it? Does the train just kind of appear? You place the train on it, so it's you place the tracks and then you plop the train down on it. Oh, well, that's good to hear, Alex. I guess. I mean, you don't sound too certain there, but hope things are going well. So where is it released? Is it released like over at Itch, Facebook, Nexus Mod, some other site? If it's on the Mod Hub, I completely missed it. Blue Butterfly, what's up? Oh yeah, man, I completely missed it. Like I said, we are moving into an extremely busy time at work, so I basically have enough time during the day to look at the Mod Hub. Are there any maps there? Yes, no, and then move on. Does it work on, does it conform to terrain, or does it flatten everything out? My guess is it's got to be fairly flat. Blue Butterfly, do not do modding. I barely have time to do what I do get done. pick up these fringes. That's pretty cool. It does. Does it have, like, I guess it's really intended for looping around the map as opposed to off-map sell points, or can you do both? Yeah, I wouldn't think it would go off the map because you'd have to have a, we'd have to be able to put the plane, the spline down off the map as well. What's it called? Did it come out this week? Because I'm back to page page 4, and I don't see anything that would. Page 5. Here, let's look together, because I'm missing something. All right, so here we are, Mod Hub. Right, these are the stuff that was released this week. Page 2. Here we have the Farm Production Pack, which was released on Tuesday of this week. And then now we're back to Friday's update with the patch. Page 7. I mean, at this point, we're back pretty far. Yeah, see, I mean, with the crappy search on the mod hub, you can't find nothing. You type in train, you get nothing. System, you get absolutely nothing. I don't know if someone find, well, of course it's got to take a wrench to post a link. I completely can see why I don't know anything about it, because I can't find it on the mod hub. So I basically never use the in-game mod hub, and if it's not posted on the web version, then I'll never see it. Is it all platforms? PC only, I guess. Probably PC only. It probably has a script. But I can completely, maybe it was, well, I mean, I don't know. Either it's not on the mod hub web, but it's only on the in-game mod hub, which would be weird, or it got pulled down. Well, I guess if you're playing on a big map that's flat, and it doesn't already have a train, then you could place your own train down. Or, like, you know, nowhere, Kansas. Wrong button. There we go. Okay. Well, that would be the other reason why I don't know about it, because if it's released on itch, the biggest thing I've got about itch is it's zero discovery. Like, you either gotta know about it or you don't know about it. And if you know about it, then maybe you saw it on a Facebook post. I never go to Facebook. Maybe you saw it posted or talked about on another farm sim channel. To be honest, I do not have the free time to watch other channels. So if it's not on the mod hub, I don't know about it. Now, here we are, right at the map's edge. I think he did a really good job with the map's edge. I mean, clearly it's lower resolution. and we can tell that. But overall, the layout, the lay of the map's edge, it's not flat. It still conforms to the land. And we'll see up here at the end of the field, there's even a road that continues on. About 95% of my viewership are PC players. I don't get a whole lot of console players watching. Here we go, we got our big bud. We talked about this being a good big bud map in the live stream, so I thought I had to bring those in. I've got the smaller bud activated, but I didn't buy it yet. Well, Ivan, the big difficulty is that mod requires the use of scripts, and Sony and Microsoft, probably most exclusively Sony, don't allow scripts on their platforms. So it would require Giants to basically incorporate those custom scripts into their own game, which they typically are not all that inclined to do. But here you can see, right, you can see the road just continue on the distant scenery. Maybe, and whatever comes next. I don't know. Personally, I don't understand the infatuation with digging. Oh, they're getting a whole lot of hate with this Helldivers 2 stuff. What? I don't understand. If we get a PC and put a digging mod on console, that will work. What? There's no way you can put the mod on. It requires scripts that you can't sideload onto a console. The sky is up, Tricky, where it typically is. See, it's up there. I really don't know how I'm going to be parking this thing, but okay. We'll just put it over here for now. Now, speaking of PCs, do want to mention a deal that is currently going on for the month of May with Apex Gaming Computers. We are a partner of Apex Gaming Computers, and in the month of May you can get 10% off your order at Apex Gaming Computers. We've got 3 configurations, pre-built, customized by myself over here at our kind of our little Apex Gaming store that is linked down in the description. We've got a Yeoman, Homesteader, and Rancher. But for the month of May, you can get 10% off using my discount code FARMER-KLEIN at anything on their store. So not only 10% off these configurations, but 10% off any configuration. So if you've been looking to get a PC so you can play great maps like this when it comes out, or other 4X maps, or even 16X maps, there's a 16X Nebraska lands map that will be coming out in the next month or so. And if you liked Nebraska Lands 4X, which was out in 19, this one's just 4 times bigger. A 16X Nebraska Lands map. There's a lot of hype going on about that one. A lot of people excited. Or this map that we're looking at today. Also, you have, of course, the availability of tons of different script mods on PC. But we got the Yeoman, Homesteader, or Rancher. Again, 10% off using my discount code FARMERKLEIN. Or if you don't like any of those configurations, well, you can just come up here and pick out your own pre-built configuration from their list. Like I said, 10% using my partner code at checkout. Go ahead and check them out. Apex Gaming Computers, linked down in the description below. Uh, 007 Robert. It's going to be a little bit of time. He still has a little bit of work to do and a whole lot of balancing to do. And he wants the map to be fairly well tested with his testing teams. So we don't want to rush a good thing. Bad things happen when we rush things to get them out. Hopefully in June, but I wouldn't say guaranteed June. Maybe July, depending on, you know, his schedule, things that are going on with his life, and then ultimately how well testing goes. He still wants to do some balancing with respect to crop prices and yields, for example. This map does have customized land pricing that is realistic to the area, and he wants to basically do the same with respect to crop pricing and yields that are realistic to the area as well. The goal of this map is for an ultra realistic gameplay. So we'll be released on well, follow his Facebook, No Creek Farms Facebook. They'll be posting more information there about the map. Kind of release location, I think right now is not set, but possibly it'll be over at an itch.io page, which again, as I said, I feel itch has horrible discovery. So unless you're following someone on Facebook or hear about it some other way, I don't know how you know that something gets released over there. What's the big bud pack coming out? I mean, there's already big buds out there in the mod hub. We got the 450 and the 747. There's another big bud pack in the mod hub that gives you tracks on the big bud. I didn't activate that one. I didn't feel that one was overly realistic, and I wanted to keep somewhat to the spirit of the map. Well, Sherry, I don't know if you can make that definitive a statement that ultimately, at the end of the day, Giants is at fault for anything. Sony and Microsoft own your console. They own how you play on their console. They have the final say on anything and everything related to their product that they so graciously let you pay for the right to use. That's their mindset. I mean, you've seen recently Sony shut down, or Ubisoft has shut down games. Just cut the cord. Glad you paid for the crew. Glad you've enjoyed it for all these years. But, you know, we're done supporting it, so I hope you had fun. Right? That's the problem. But really, at the end of the day, it's the console manufacturers. They decide what they're going to allow and what they're not going to allow. Yeah, David, I've been hearing a bit about that. Now apparently when Helldivers came out initially, it did require a Sony PlayStation account. But due to the overwhelming demand of Helldivers, they basically crashed the Sony servers. And they basically took that requirement out, apparently temporarily. And now that the game has established itself as a very popular thing, they want to hook it back in. Sony, that is. Sony is insisting that they have to hook it back in. And they do it under the guise of, well, it's for you, the player. So that we can ban, you know, bad actors in the community and make sure that they don't come back. Because of course Sony has some magic sauce and they would prevent anyone from actually making a secondary Sony account and coming back into the game, right? Apparently they've mastered that problem. Well, of course there's been a massive amount of players that have joined the game since they removed that requirement. And they state, well, we've had in the terms of service that it needs a Sony account, we just haven't enforced it. Well, they damn well know that nobody reads that stuff. Everyone knows no one reads that stuff. So it is fresh news for a whole lot of people. And you know what? A whole lot of people who play on PC don't want to have anything to do with Sony. And I heard today that there's now 30% of the reviews for that game are now overwhelmingly negative. Or maybe it's higher than that now. Maybe it's 60%. People have gone back and redone the reviews. And something that was like overwhelmingly positive reviews are now listed as mixed reviews. Like well over 150,000 negative reviews in the last few days. Sony. It's basically a Sony published game as far as I know. Sony's not the studio. There's a different studio. But I think it's a Sony property in some respect. I mean, if it required a Microsoft account, there would probably be less outcry. But there would still be outcry. If they required a Microsoft account and then said it didn't require a Microsoft account, but then did require a Microsoft account again. Well, sure, you're talking about Xbox, but you're not talking about PlayStation. And we've already seen that Giants wants to they favor, I guess they favor a level playing field. Only in extreme circumstances have we seen a map get released, for example, for one platform and not for the other. And typically it gets corrected fairly short order. But it's also not the first time Microsoft would bend the rules for something they felt they could massively profit from. So let's talk about the recent Baldur's Gate 3 deal, where the release of Baldur's Gate 3 on Xbox was going to be delayed until 2024. Of course, Baldur's Gate 3 came out toward the end of last year, toward the autumn of last year on PC. But the Xbox release was going to be pushed back into this year because they were having some issues meeting some multiplayer performance metrics, because Microsoft requires multiplayer to support two-player local multiplayer, and they were running into issues trying to maintain the desired frame rate for two-player local co-op multiplayer in Baldur's Gate 3. Well, then suddenly it became the best game of the year across, I don't know, every ranking. And then suddenly Microsoft's like, I think we could make an exception here, because we just realized we're missing out on millions of dollars of revenue. Right? It's all about the dollar. But they also want to maintain what they feel is an ideal playing experience for the player. And opening up rogue scripts is dangerous in their eyes, because they don't know what that might do to the player experience. I need to figure out how to get to there from here. Clearly, oh, we gotta go around the back. Earlier I just teleported stuff over there, but I thought we'd drive over there and, well, just experience this lovely, lovely map. And to think every single square inch of this terrain is hand sculpted. I mean, yeah, that's some mad props. Mad skills to the author there for being able to hand sculpt all this stuff. Well, that's the only way you have that freedom is a PC. That's not Microsoft's or Sony's viewpoint. Microsoft's Sony viewpoint is that's their hardware that you purchased, which means you have the privilege of playing on their hardware. But they're going to tell you what you can play on it. They're going to tell you what you can use to play on it. They control all the peripherals. They license the peripherals. I mean, look at it's mostly Sony's that hate them, but look at Farm Sim 19 and the PlayStation. The side panel, the Logitech side panel would work. But suddenly the Logitech side panel doesn't work in Farm Sim 22 anymore. Oh, that's nice. I like this. Right, like I said, there's lots of historical things here on this map. Right? I mean, what's so magical about FS19 and the side panel working and FS22 and the side panel not working? Well, one could speculate maybe they accidentally forgot to not allow the side panel to not work on 19, Sony that is. So they made sure that it didn't work in 22. Because the Logitech side panel isn't a licensed Sony peripheral. I mean, look at my wheel. Alright, you can't see my wheel because it's obviously here. But I have the Thrustmaster T300 RS. Okay? I'm what I call a box hoarder. I don't throw away boxes. So I'm looking at the box for this wheel right now. And this wheel, the 300 RS, works on PlayStation and PC. It's got a big old PlayStation logo on it. It's got PlayStation triangle, square, round, circle, X buttons. If I try to connect this to an Xbox, it wouldn't work. But Thrustmaster has the exact same wheel in an Xbox variant that works on Xbox and PC. The only difference is a little circuit board or a little chip in the circuit board, and instead of having triangle, circle, X, and square, we have the A, B, whatever the Xbox buttons are. That's all there is. But Thrustmaster has to have two SKUs, two different wheels. Heaven forbid you own a PlayStation and an Xbox, you'd have to buy two wheels to be able to use the same wheel on either platform. So since the Logitech side panel wasn't officially licensed with PlayStation, they made sure it didn't work in 22. Yeah, and then there's 9, 20, 30, 9, 20 something that probably only works with PlayStation. I mean, consoles have their place. I'm not a console hater. I'm a Sony and Microsoft hater, but I'm not a console hater. They have their place. If all you want to do is turn the game on and play it and know that you're not going to have a problem, then the console is where it's at. But if you want to be able to basically do whatever you want, then it's going to be PC every day. I know yours wouldn't work on PlayStation, but I'm saying that there is an equivalent SKU that's a different number, that's the exact same wheel, that will. Are there any real Xbox exclusives anymore? My understanding was pretty much anything released on Xbox was released on PC as well. Oh, we got a little bit over here that we didn't get seated, but that's okay. That's okay. And my clock gets sped up. Well, one thing Nintendo hasn't done it because Nintendo's got a giant, their overstuffed head up their ass. But if Nintendo would bring any of their licensed properties to PC, they would make bank head over tails. But they're too busy trying to control everything. Now you probably won't see it. Oh yeah, the third-party adapter probably it probably just emulates the properly licensed controllers on either side. Well, you know where Nintendo got their start, right? Nintendo was a trading card company, a card game company that moved into the electronics when that was just starting up. But their grassroots go all the way back to card games, and it's not like the Sony and Microsoft or Apple and Microsoft of the 90s. It is the It is the Sega and Nintendo of the 90s. There's a great book out there called Console Wars. It's definitely worth a read or a listen to. If you do audiobooks, it's 100% worth a listen to. And Console Wars is all about the battle between Nintendo and Sega in the 90s with respect to the Master System and the Nintendo, it starts with a Funcom system, something like that, which we learned, or which we named in North America as the Nintendo Entertainment System, and the Sega Master System, which then became the Super Nintendo and, yep, Famicom, that's it, which became the Super Nintendo and the Genesis battle, then the N64 and the Sega Saturn, Sega CD. Nintendo was going to go for a CD variant, a CD console, with a partnership with this company called Sony. And, well, that partnership fell apart. And instead, Sony decided they were going to make something and kill everybody, and they were going to call it the PlayStation. And welcome to Sony, PlayStation, and Xbox battles of today. Ice, the map author, reached out to me and said he would like to provide me a copy of the map for review, and I accepted. That's the way I feel it should always be. So the other night, what was it? Wednesday night? Yeah. Wednesday night we did a fabulous live stream with the map author. In voice chat, he got to talk about the map, his thoughts, the reasoning behind the map, the location, and lots of other great details. If you haven't seen it, it's definitely worth going back and watching. He goes into a lot of details about the building of the map, the terrain, these 4 brain towers, and the fact that there wasn't a train line here, or there was a train line here back in the day, but that was pulled out in I think the 80s, maybe, is what he said. The fact that there is indeed a Paloma market, and it looks exactly like this. There is indeed an Earth Science Museum that looks exactly like this, including the color on the roof. And right across from that, there is a, where is it? A Ma Loma's Cafe, which looks exactly like this. So we have really cool things like that going on. Right, this is a Google Earth image, and everything matches and lines up with this as perfectly as possible, including the off-map boundary, land, and everything. No release time has been set. While the map looks done, visually, there are many enhancements and fine-tuning the map author wishes to do. For example, the land prices on this map are realistic to the area. So, for example, Farmland ID 40, which is 72 hectares in size, is going to cost you $465,000. That's realistic to the arable for farmland. Farmland 38, which is a little bit smaller, at 7.5 hectares, is only $44,000. But farmland like Farmland 19, which includes a farm already established, is going to cost a bit more because it's got the buildings. It's got some value there. $776,000. We've got Farmland 7, which has all of these buildings and structures, right? It's going to be $1.2 million basically. We have realistic ground prices, land prices. He wants to work in realistic crop prices. He needs to work in realistic yields for the area. Probably fine tune the weather as well. So there's a lot of fine tuning that is still yet to be done, and still some testing that needs to be done to make sure things are ready to go when it does go full release. Wasn't there a mod for that, Tuki? Or was that in 19? That's right, Sherry. It's basically done when it's done, and until it's done, it's not done. Because what we could be 100% sure on is, let's say someone sets a date. Let's say someone has a map and they say, I'm going to release this map on Memorial Day. You can almost be 100% certain the map will have issues because it won't be 100%. But, well, they went on record. They said they had to get it out by Memorial Day, so it's going to come out. It's going to have issues, right? It's just best to leave it open. Test it until you're as reasonably assured that it's going to be as issue-free as possible. And then once you've done that and exhausted probably 99% of the issues, then put it out there for everyone to enjoy. Because I don't know if you're like me, but I do not want to restart a game save once I've gotten into it. That's just too much effort. I'm pretty sure there was a mod, at least in 19, that did like variable land pricing. In 17, you could do contracts and lower the price of the land. Ravenhoff's having some issues. There. I have a few cats on me. Yeah, the bot definitely doesn't like you. There we go. See, if you're nice to the cats, then maybe the bot will like you. Bot likes cats. Because cats like to sleep on top of the bot at night. Because the computer running the bot is warm. See? Look! You're nice to the cats, and there you go. The bot's nice to you. It's that simple. So I had someone comment the other day on the Farm Production Pack video I did, asking if the Farm Production Pack worked with the Premium and Platinum DLCs on the base map, or if it gave an error about too many fill types, which I thought was interesting. Because of course Giants would update their base maps if there was an issue with all of their DLCs not working. So I was like, well, let's just test it, right? So I fired it up on Elm Creek with the Premium expansion and the Platinum expansion activated, and indeed there was no issue with loading up Farm Production Pack, Premium and Platinum all at the same time with respect to too many fill types. Now that's not saying that on a different map, modded map, that might not be the case, because the fill type limit is a defined limit in the map itself. So you're probably more apt to run into that on older maps. I don't know what the limit is now. What the base limit is. But the Farm Production Pack added all the washed variants. So we have potatoes, sugar beets, carrots, parsnips, red beets. So that's 5 new washed variants. And typically it's fill types that you can pile on the ground. That's where you run into the issues. So the acid wouldn't really factor in there. Who here plays for the chill, not the thrill? I do. How many of you others play for the chill, not the thrill? If that's you, then you might find something of interest over at the merch shop. I see the bot wanted to chat about the merch shop, so I thought, okay. So we do have a merch shop linked right there, and we have several custom designs over there. Far, far more than simply my logo slapped on some product. I like the idea of having something that is unique and not simply just my logo slapped around there. But we've got some I play for the chill, not the thrill. We've got I'd rather be farming. That's one of my personal favorites. I've got my I guess you could say the token tagline, Happy Farming. We got some Happy Farming stickers. Rabbit Rob's most favorite barley juice glasses. We have some Tractors Make Me Smile glasses as well with a big old cheesy grin. Farmer G, it works. It's just it's not loaded in my mod in this mod folder. It was updated really soon after the Vermeer pack came out to work. It's just I didn't add it. Ravenhawk, I hope nobody has JD merch stuff, because that would be something that JD could you know, come after you for. You can't sell John Deere stuff unless you have a license to sell John Deere stuff. Same holds for Case, IH, Massey Ferguson, Kloss, Vermeer, any registered brand. I can't even have farming. I can't put Farming Simulator on my merch because that would I don't have permission to do that. Maybe one day we'll be able to get official Farm Sim merch over here in the US. I've been working with Kermit on that, saying please, 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 let's get some good merch over here on this side of the ocean. Problem is right now they logistically don't have storage space for that in the Chicago office. I don't know, Sherry. I wouldn't personally try. That's why I just come up with what I feel are my own unique designs. Any likeness to other designs out there is merely a coincidence. Oh, it looks like our harvester's full again. Better get that thing emptied out. Yeah, you know, you live in China, or you manufacture your product in China, or you kind of get away with things because just how they operate over there. All right, catch you later, Dozer. Thanks for dropping by. Hope you enjoy the show. Oh, we're gonna be done this at some point. Yeah, I think this would be a great multiplayer map once it's out. But on the merch, like the Trackers Make Me Smile stuff, that really came about a couple different ways. But I was trying to come up with, you know that old, well, I daren't say old, it's not that old. You know that country song, Tractors, or She Thinks My Tractor's Sexy, right? Well, I was trying to come up with something similar to that, but not too similar to that. That would be overly obvious that it was basically just a derivative of that. And that's basically what we landed on. Sherry, I typically do not play 4X maps, so I really don't have the guidance on what you might want to do. It comes down to really how big of machinery are you working with? How many sets of that machinery are you working with? And do you mind setting the clock to 1x? Do you want to set it to 2, 3, 4? Do you want to make use of course play or not? So, as far as field sizes go, these are all in hectares, right? So we're at 5.2, 15, 14.9, 31, 34, 22, 39, 73, 51, a couple 25s. Those are all in hectares. But yeah, it all comes down to how much time do you have to put in on your gameplay. And if you have a lot of time to put in on it, then you can do bigger maps, bigger fields without too much hassle. If you don't mind working on the same field for an entire week because of your on and off again gameplay schedule, that's fine. For me, I want to feel like I'm moving things along and not taking all a week to get one thing done. So I've tended to gravitated now towards more smaller things. But I did want to show this off for the next week or so at least. Maybe bridge this to our Nebraska lands testing. Maybe not. I don't know if I want to be on the map for that long, because again, I don't want to play it out. I don't want to get folks not interested in seeing it anymore before they've had an opportunity to see it for themselves. And then, you know, you've got, if you're the fast farming type folks, just trying to figure out how to do everything as fast as possible, then you could do things quicker on bigger fields. But that's not me. Yeah, my thought is if you enjoy something, why do you want to try to do it as fast as possible? Typically, if you enjoy something, you want to kind of savor it. You know, if you're having a nice dinner, a nice flavorful steak, are you gonna try to shove it down your gullet as fast as you can possibly consume it, and then be like, "Oh, done. That was great. Let's move. Let's get out of here and go do something else." You probably want to just sit there and think about it. Chew on it until you got all the good juices out. I want to see what the distance scenery looked like from ground level. Or near ground level. And it works really good. Well, Tookie, we know you're a special kind of guy already. I mean, anybody that watched the Wreckfest stream last night knows you've got a very interesting choice in vehicles. I honestly, Pride, I have no idea what you're talking about. Oh, okay, now I know what you're talking about. I totally read that wrong. For some reason I read that said, "Didn't you get the notification where you live?" I'm like, I have no idea what notification you're talking about. Then after I read it a fifth time, I now know what it says. Sorry about not getting the notification. Make sure you got that bell checked off. That's the only thing I can say, is to check that bell off. Now, I did activate some Connect modding stuff. We haven't gotten around to it yet. With their self-propelled sprayer, I've got activated up, and a few other things. Let's see here. The their planter. Got that activated. The parrot sprayer I got activated up. I don't have a lot of things activated in here, as you can tell. They weren't bad, they were just rather unique. Like the giant pig. If you ever wondered what under the map looked like, there you go. It's really detailed, right? So it gets a little big. Does it say how big this is? No. What's on sale? An electric telehandler. You know, we're just going to say that's good enough. That little bit we won't worry about. But I could see on console you're limited in mod space, right? So file size, mod size becomes important. I hadn't really thought about that, so I think in the last map video I did, I mentioned the map and all the required mods was like 900 some megabytes at the outset. I need to try to remember to do that going forward. Stash that over here. You only get 5 gigs of mod space. Yeah, for some PC players, that's like downright cruel punishment. So you can play the game, but you can only have up to 5 megs or 5 gigs of space. So even with 8 gigs of mod space, the fact that GPortal you can rent up to 25 gigs of mod space, that's still way overkill for what consoles can connect into those servers with. And I mean that's a Microsoft restriction there, right? They don't want any one of their games consuming a large amount of storage, because that could negatively impact your gameplay on something else. Almost done. Yeah, I started this at like 6. Maybe 6:30. Well, yeah, Game Pass, and they want you to buy that overpriced external storage. That probably doesn't allow you to save more of any one game, but just increases your capacity. Or maybe you don't even get that space for game saves. Maybe it's only for download storage. Get off the field. Get off the fence. So you have a what's the Xbox has a terabyte version? Is there there's a 512 version too, right? I don't know, Walter. I mean, Sony's going to be releasing the PlayStation Pro this fall. That's pretty much been confirmed at this point. Now, of course, there's been that information that came out with respect to the old Microsoft Activision Blizzard acquisition. But it's not too late yet for them to still announce something this fall. Right? It's not too late. Technically, they could announce it at FarmCon. And then just have a complete media blitz between FarmCon and whatever the release date would be. It's not like they don't start working on it until after they've announced it. It's been in production since they released 2022. It's like, congratulations, you shipped the game. Take a week off. We're coming back in a week, and we're going to start working on the next one. So the news video that I watched today basically said that the PlayStation Pro, the PlayStation 5 Plus, PlayStation 5 version 3, whatever, was going to have like a 30% performance boost in graphics rendering or something. The chip's a little bit bigger. I think it was like a 300 megahertz bump in clock speed. They were looking to increase the performance of ray tracing. And it made mention that titles certified after August would basically have to be certified on the new revised platform, and that there was the potential that developers could have like a switch built into their game that would detect, is this a PlayStation Plus? If so, then run this code or run these textures or these settings. Is it the OG PlayStation 5? Then run these other settings. You know what? Let's get down here and let's get started on our flax. I assume we can run flax through this. But it's the Gamers Nexus. Go look up Gamers Nexus. It was their weekly news roundup that they had that information in it. So, of course, the PlayStation 5 released in 2020, but in 2020 they were in pretty short supply. They were in pretty short supply for quite a long time. So while technically the platform is 4 years old, or going on to its fourth year, from an availability standpoint, it's probably more like 2 years old. From a standpoint of when people could actually easily, readily get a hold of them. So if they're going to replace it in this short order, 2026, that would be 6 years post paper launch, possibly as little as 4 years post possibly as little as 4 years post, legitimate wide-scale availability. It might be one of the shortest-lived platforms to date. Now it looks like we can bale flax. We can windrow it. how are physical consoles going to be obsolete? You gotta have something to render locally. Internet here in North America is awful. You're not gonna have wide-scale broadband internet to support wide, broad-scale cloud gaming. Yeah, Phil Spencer really wants to do an Xbox handheld. For some reason he's jonesing for his MSI Claw, which according to reviews is like the worst handheld out there. But he sees all the money that Valve is making, and well, he doesn't want to be left out. He sees the popularity of the ROG Ally. Doesn't want to be left out. Of course, the Ally and the Claw and all the other Windows-based handhelds, well, you just toss Game Pass on there, and there you go. You got your Xbox, air quote, Xbox handheld. Optimus, what's up? How's it going over there? This is where you run into issues when you both drive with a steering wheel and a keyboard and realize that your steering wheel is turned and you're trying to counter steer with the keyboard and don't understand why on earth you're not going straight. Now, this is a very interesting and unique looking map for sure. You kind of not realize the rut lots of maps visually get into until you really come across one that is just so uniquely visually different. And then you realize that lots of the other ones are so similar. And maybe that's why you really haven't been interested in a lot of things for a while. Because it's so much of been there, seen that. I won't be playing on it, but I'll host it if there's interest. I don't have time to play on multiplayer servers. Time passes and I can't guarantee to be on to do anything. $100,000 an acre for workable farmland is just ridiculous, yeah. So I think this is interesting that we can bale flax. So we have flax straw, if you will. Get this down here. Well, I mean, maybe they're buying it for the timber. Chicken rancher, it's because it's a hired helper. Hired helpers don't do crop destruction. Let's see if our auger wagon has left any tracks. Yeah, we've got destruction here on our auger. I don't know if you can see it. Right there, you can see it probably. The harvester's not showing it because it's a hired helper. Okay, I don't know. I don't use horseplay. I stopped using it a long time ago because I got tired of fighting it. It didn't want to work the way it should. That's a very, very long time ago. Yeah. We have our beautiful little town of Luma right here. Are these lots that I can buy? Come on. No. No, but I mean, look at this. So we've got, here is the Google Earth image. And we've got a shed and a little shed here. And I got a shed and a little shed. There's something else going on there. Right? But over here, I mean, he's done a really good job of just trying to match up these buildings where appropriate. It is a small town. I don't know what the population of Loma is for legits. Now this would not be a good forestry map because all these trees are those hard to harvest trees. Here we have that decision point. Historical point in Lewis and Clark's exploration adventure. And then of course for the adventurous folks who want to manage 600 head of cattle, well, we have this feedlot where you can have 600 head of cattle all showing up on screen, all animated. Have fun with that. I was going to work down here today. And then I saw how big this field was. And I said to myself, no, I'm not working this field. Because this is just too big. 90 acres by itself. And you may say, oh, 90 acres, that ain't nothing. Well, I got 2 hours here to do something. I want to do something other than just work on one field for 6 hours straight. A population of 85. Well, there you go. That is the entire town in accurate detail. So here we have field 8, 98 acres. So I wanted to work down there, but you know, I didn't have the time. So we moved up here on this bench. I keep wanting to call it a shelf, but I keep getting corrected. It's a bench. We're up here on the bench. 49. Oh my gosh, they've vacated the place. Loma, where literally everybody can know your name. So up to 1,000 cattle on the map because there's 2 other areas where you can have 100 and 200 cows each. So I guess that's only 900 cows. So I guess I was a little off on the math there. Yeah, table, shelf, bench is apparently the proper terminology. Let's shut this thing down. Alright guys, with that, we're going to call it an evening. I want to thank you all for coming out and watching. We go about 2 hours, and that is exactly where we are at this point in time. There are other creators out there that do have access to this map that are putting content out on this map. I don't know how much content they plan on putting out or with what regularity, but if you do like this map, I urge you to go and check out those other creators as well. There's a fairly healthy testing community working on this map. I think we've got a few of those testers here in chat tonight based on some comments that have been made. And rest assured, everyone is working as hard as they can to try to get this map out as soon as possible, as issue-free as possible to the global public. I will tell you, if you subscribe to my channel and tick that bell, as soon as I know that the map is released, we'll be putting out a formal map video, and that's one surefire way to know that the map is out. Once the actual map review video is published on the channel. Up to that point, it's all just kind of pre-release stuff, because we all know everything is subject to change until it is out for real. And with that, until next time, happy farming.